What if I told you that you've never truly been still, not even for a second? Not your body, not your thoughts, not your soul, because everything is vibrating, not as a metaphor, not as a belief, but as the most fundamental truth of your existence. From ancient mystics to quantum physicists, the message is the same. This universe isn't solid, it's frequency in motion. And you're not just in it. You are it. Your thoughts, your emotions, your desires, they're not hidden. They ripple out like signals, shaping the reality you live in. So here's the real question. If everything vibrates, what frequency have you been tuned to? And who decided it? Let's find out. It's easy to believe the world around us is solid, still, predictable. But that illusion falls apart the moment you zoom in, past the surface of things, beyond the skin, the furniture, the floor beneath your feet. At the microscopic level, everything is movement. Even the hardest rock is, at its core, a storm of vibrating atoms. Nothing rests. Not truly. Not ever. This isn't just ancient wisdom, it's also the foundation of quantum physics. Every particle you've ever touched or thought about is in constant motion, even if your senses can't detect it. Reality is not made of things, it's made of frequencies. And that includes you, your body, your heartbeat, your brainwaves, your memories. All of it is vibration, patterns dancing in a field of possibility. Now consider this. The third Hermetic principle, the law of vibration, declared this truth thousands of years ago. It says that nothing is at rest, everything moves, everything vibrates. This isn't symbolic, it's literal. Hermes Trismegistus, the mythical teacher of ancient Egypt and Greece, hinted that matter was just the densest form of energy. And energy was just motion, conscious motion, intelligence in flow. Sound familiar? It should, because this is exactly what Einstein later confirmed with E.J.MC2. Matter and energy are one and the same. Different expressions of the same vibrating source. The ancients didn't have particle accelerators, but they had inner vision, and somehow they knew. And here's the part we often forget. If even your thoughts are made of vibration, then what you think, what you feel, and what you focus on aren't just passive states, they're frequencies you're broadcasting. Like a radio tower tuned to a specific song, your inner world becomes a signal, a vibration, sent into the field around you. And the universe, it listens. But here's the twist most people never see coming. If every thought vibrates, then every fear, every limiting belief, every doubt is not just in you. It's moving through you, echoing outward, coloring your perception, attracting experiences that match its frequency. So the real question becomes, are you vibrating on purpose, or are you vibrating by default? Long before quantum physicists began measuring subatomic movement, mystics were already listening to the hum of existence. They may not have used words like electromagnetic resonance or wave-particle duality, but they felt the vibration and encoded it into their prayers, chants, and symbols. Take Hinduism, for example, one of the most ancient and complex spiritual systems humanity has ever developed. At its core lies a single syllable, Om. Not just a sound, but a vibration, believed to be the original pulse of the universe, the echo of consciousness creating form. To chant Om is to align yourself, not with a god in the sky, but with the very vibration that gave birth to galaxies. It's not religion, it's frequency attunement. Across the sands of time, the Egyptians held a similar idea that Ma'at, the principle of cosmic order and harmony, was a kind of vibrational balance. Not just social or moral, but energetic. When you fell out of alignment, chaos followed. The Greeks echoed this too. Heraclitus, one of the earliest philosophers, famously declared, "Everything flows." That wasn't metaphor, it was metaphysics. He believed all of existence was becoming, not being, a constant flux. And Plato, he hinted that the world we perceive is just a shadow, a low-frequency projection of higher, more real realms of ideal forms, like ancient holograms vibrating on dimensions we can't yet reach. And it wasn't just the East or the West. The Aboriginal Australians speak of songlines, invisible paths across the land, sung into being by ancestral beings. To walk. These paths, while singing their songs, is to stay in sync with the vibration of the earth itself. All these traditions, scattered across continents and centuries, were saying one thing: there is a rhythm beneath the chaos, a field of intelligence that responds not to what you say, but to what you vibrate. And you're not separate from it. You're a note in the symphony, a pulse in the pattern. But if that's true, what happens when your note is out of tune? What happens when the vibration you're sending doesn't match the one your soul came here to play? That's when dissonance enters, internally as anxiety, fear, confusion, externally as conflict, resistance, or stagnation. But it's not punishment. It's a signal, an invitation to realign, to remember that you're not here to force reality, you're here to resonate with it. And the moment you do, the universe sings back. For centuries, science and spirituality stood on opposite shores, glaring at each other across a vast sea of misunderstanding. But now, they're beginning to meet. And the bridge? Vibration. Modern physics has caught up to what mystics have whispered for millennia. There is no such thing as stillness. At the atomic level, everything moves. What we once thought of as solid is now understood to be mostly empty space, particles whirling in probabilistic clouds, bound together by invisible forces. A chair, a tree, your hand, they're not static things, they're organized vibrations. And it gets stranger. Quantum mechanics has shown that particles can exist in multiple states at once. They can be waves and particles until observed. It's as if the universe is a sea of potential vibration, waiting to be collapsed into form by attention. Einstein's equation, E mc2, sealed the deal. It revealed something revolutionary. Matter and energy are not opposites. They're interchangeable. Different outfits worn by the same underlying truth. Energy is matter. Matter is vibration, which means you are not a thing. You are a frequency field, constantly changing, evolving, responding to what you perceive, believe, and feel. And just like ancient sages claimed, you're not passive in this equation. In 1982, physicist Alain Aspect conducted a now famous experiment in quantum entanglement. He found that particles separated by great distances could influence each other instantly, as if space itself didn't matter. This spooky action at a distance, as Einstein called it, hints at something profound. There's an invisible field connecting all things, a field that doesn't follow the laws of space and time as we know them. Some scientists now refer to it as the quantum field. Others, more esoteric in spirit, call it the unified field or even the Akashic field. But regardless of the name, the message is the same. We are connected. Not metaphorically, physically, energetically, vibrationally. And that connection means one thing. Your inner frequency doesn't just affect you, it affects the entire field. When you shift your vibration, you're not just changing your mood. You're changing what's possible in the reality around you. So next time you feel powerless, small, or stuck, remember, you are not a static object. You are a living frequency, and every moment you are broadcasting. We often think of our thoughts as private, locked inside the mind, invisible, intangible, harmless. But what if that's not true? What if every thought you think is a pulse, a frequency emitted into the field, real, measurable, and contagious? The Hermetic tradition says, as within, so without. Modern neuroscience is beginning to agree. Let's start with your brain. When you're calm and meditative, your brain produces alpha waves, rhythmic pulses in the 8 to 12 hertz range. These are associated with inner peace, creativity, and clarity. When you're anxious or overstimulated, your brain shifts to beta waves, a higher frequency linked to stress, urgency, and overthinking. These aren't just patterns, they're vibrations. And they don't stay confined inside your skull. The HeartMath Institute took this further. They discovered that the human heart produces an electromagnetic field that extends up to several feet outside the body, radiating far beyond the chest. And here's the kicker. That field changes with emotion. When you feel gratitude, compassion, or joy, your heart's rhythm becomes coherent, smooth, resonant. But when you're angry, fearful, or resentful, that field turns erratic and jagged. These emotional frequencies don't just affect your health, they affect the people around you, the room you're in, the choices you make, even your immune system. It's no exaggeration to say your feelings are frequencies and they shape your world. Think of your mind as a tuning fork. Whatever emotion you hold most often becomes the note you send out, and life echoes that note back. This is why certain people walk into a room and everyone feels lighter, why some people trigger you before they say a single word, why your vibe really does attract your tribe. But here's the question we rarely ask. If thoughts and emotions are vibrational, who's choosing the playlist? Because most of the time, we're replaying old tracks, unconscious loops, beliefs we never questioned, pain we never healed, and those loops vibrate. They don't need your permission, they just need your attention. Once you feed them, they broadcast. So imagine this, your fear of not being enough. It's not just a feeling, it's a signal, rippling through time and space, bringing back reflections that prove it's true. That's not law of attraction. Fluff. That's energetic mechanics. The good news, every moment you can retune, you can switch the channel, reprogram the signal, and shift the frequency of your inner world, so the outer one follows, not by force, but by resonance. Here's a radical thought. You're not just reacting to reality, you're helping to generate it, not in some vague, mystical sense, but through the vibration you emit moment by moment. This is where the law of vibration and the law of mentalism converge. All is mind, said the Hermetic texts, but mind is not just thought. It's energy, and energy vibrates. In quantum physics, there's something called the observer effect, where the act of observing a particle actually changes how it behaves. Let that sink in. The mere presence of consciousness impacts the physical world. Your attention isn't passive, it's creative. Now think of your vibration as a kind of lens, not one you look through, but one you broadcast from. You're not seeing the world as it is. You're seeing the version of the world that resonates with your internal frequency. When you're in fear, the world looks dangerous. When you're in love, the world seems alive. When you're stuck in shame, you attract people who reinforce your unworthiness until it feels like fate. But it's not fate, it's frequency. This doesn't mean you're to blame for your pain. That's a distortion. It means you're powerful enough to participate in how your reality responds to you. You're not a victim of vibration, you're a source. And just like a tuning fork can cause another to resonate at the same frequency, your emotional state sends ripples through the quantum field. It's not just about thinking positive. That's surface level. It's about becoming aware of what you're really vibrating, beneath the affirmations, beneath the mask, because your frequency isn't defined by what you say you want. It's defined by what you believe is possible, by what your nervous system has learned to expect. You don't attract what you desire. You attract what you're in energetic harmony with. And that harmony is set by how you feel, deeply, consistently, unconsciously. So the question is, what frequency have you been living on autopilot? And what reality has it been calling back to you? Imagine for a moment that your emotions are colors. Not metaphors, actual measurable hues of energy, each with its own electromagnetic signature. Now ask yourself, what colors have you been painting your reality with lately? Science is beginning to catch up with what mystics have always known. Emotions are frequencies, and not all frequencies are equal. In the 1990s, Dr. David Hawkins introduced the map of consciousness, a scale that measured emotional states by their vibrational energy levels. At the bottom, shame, guilt, fear, vibrations so dense they constrict your body, cloud your mind, and fragment your spirit. But as you rise through courage, willingness, acceptance, something shifts. Your frequency lightens, your nervous system relaxes, your intuition sharpens, and at the top, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. Not just spiritual ideals, energetic states that emit a higher resonance, capable of influencing not just your biology, but the environment around you. Studies from institutions like HeartMath show that feelings of gratitude and compassion synchronize your heart rhythms, stabilize your nervous system, and create a field that others can sense, even without words. You felt this before, that moment when someone walks into the room radiating peace, and the whole space softens. Or when a person in distress carries such tension that everyone else tightens too. That's resonance. We are tuning forks, activating each other with every encounter. And here's the alchemy most people miss. High-frequency emotions don't just make you feel better. They make you a better receiver for the life you want to live. They pull you out of survival mode and into a creative state, from reaction to creation. But these states aren't something you chase. They're something you cultivate. Gratitude isn't a mood, it's a discipline. Compassion isn't weakness, it's vibrational intelligence. And the more time you spend in those frequencies, the more the world begins to mirror that energy back. Synchronicities appear, opportunities align, relationships deepen, your reality shifts. Not because it's changing, but because you are. The field responds to coherence, to wholeness, to love. So next time you find yourself spiraling into doubt or fear, pause, take a breath and ask, what frequency am I feeding right now? And what kind of reality is it building? Knowing that everything vibrates is powerful, but knowledge without practice is just noise. The truth is, you can't think your way into a new frequency. You have to embody it. You have to feel it, move with it, live in it, until it becomes your natural state. Luckily, you don't need anything external to begin, because the most profound vibrational tools are already within your reach. Let's start with the most ancient one of all, not as escape, but as tuning. When you meditate, you're not zoning out, you're tuning in. You're learning to quiet the mental static and listen to the deeper pulse beneath thought. Alpha and theta brainwaves begin to rise, your nervous system calms, your frequency lifts. Even 10 minutes a day can radically shift your baseline vibration. Breath is frequency in motion. When you slow it down, deepen it, and become aware of it, you signal safety to your body. And safety is a high vibration. Try it now. Inhale deeply, hold, exhale slowly. Do that 3 times and notice how the energy shifts. Nature doesn't try to vibrate higher. It just does. When you walk barefoot on the earth, stand beneath trees, or sit beside running water, you sync with the earth's natural frequency, around 7.83 Hertz, known as the Schumann resonance. That frequency is deeply healing. It reminds your system what coherence feels like. What you eat carries vibration. Whole, alive foods nourish not just the body, but the frequency field around it. Processed, lifeless, chemically altered food distorts your internal resonance. Hydration, movement, rest, all vibrational tools. All forms of energetic hygiene. You don't raise your vibration by suppressing low emotions. You raise it by feeling them consciously, giving them space to move, then releasing the charge with compassion. Anger becomes clarity. Sadness becomes softness. Fear becomes fuel for courage. That's transmutation. That's vibrational mastery. Intentional focus. Where your attention goes, energy flows. Guard your mind like sacred ground. The media you consume, the conversations you have, the thoughts you rehearse, they all shape your frequency. Start your day with intention. What am I tuning into today? Not just emotionally, but vibrationally. Each of these practices is a doorway. None of them require perfection, only presence, because raising your vibration isn't about being high vibe all the time. It's about returning again and again to the place within you that remembers how to resonate with truth. And when you do, life responds. You've probably felt it before, that unspoken link between you and the rest of the world, like when someone texts you seconds after you think of them, or when a wave of anxiety hits you and only later you find out something tragic happened. Far away, coincidence maybe, but maybe not, because beneath what we see, beneath what we measure, lies a deeper fabric, one that connects every mind, every heartbeat, every soul through vibration. Carl Jung called it the collective unconscious, a vast reservoir of shared symbols, instincts, and archetypes that shape human behavior across cultures and centuries. But what if this collective field isn't just psychological? What if it's energetic? British biologist Rupert Sheldrake offered a radical idea: the morphic field. He suggested that every species, and even every thought pattern, generates a kind of vibrational blueprint, that once a behavior is learned or a pattern is formed, it becomes easier for others to access, simply by tuning into that frequency. It's as if human consciousness is a symphony, and every time one person raises their vibration, it subtly shifts the music for everyone, which means when you meditate, not just for yourself, but with the intention of peace, you're influencing the field. When you transmute shame into self-compassion, you're clearing noise not just from your life, but from the collective signal. When you choose love over fear, not once, but consistently, you're anchoring that frequency into the grid of human experience. And make no mistake, the field feels it. Mass meditation experiments have shown temporary drops in crime rates. The Global Consciousness Project has detected shifts in random number generators during major world events, suggesting that human emotion has a measurable impact on the environment. In simple terms, your vibration matters, not just to your healing, your relationships, or your success, but to ours as a species, as a planet, as a shared consciousness evolving in real time. You're not isolated. You're a signal tower, and every emotion you refine, every belief you question, every intention you upgrade, echoes outward. We often wait for the world to change, but what if the world is waiting for us to change first? So, what are you vibrating right now? Not what you say, not what you hope, but what your heart is actually radiating into the field. Because whether you're aware of it or not, you're always sending a signal. Every breath, every thought, every emotion, a frequency, shaping your reality and rippling out into the collective mind. You came here for a reason, to remember that you're not just surviving in this universe, you're composing it. To reclaim the power to tune your inner state and shift what life mirrors back. But no one can do that work for you. Only you can choose to stop running the same frequency loops you've inherited, absorbed, or unconsciously accepted. Only you can decide to become the author of your vibration. So start small, pause, feel. Ask yourself, what song am I singing to the universe? And if you don't like the answer, change the note, because every frequency you heal in yourself heals something in the world, and the field is listening. If this message resonated, if it stirred something in you, then don't keep it to yourself. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you're ready to go even deeper, there are more videos appearing on your screen right now that will take you further down the path. You're not alone on this journey. You never were. Until next time, Keep vibrating with intention.